everybody, and welcome back to Walk the Talk. My name is Tumi Ramela, for those of you who don't know me. If you're new here, hello, welcome, and I hope you do stay. If you're an oldie, hello, friend, and welcome back. And a happy Women's Month to all the women out there. I hope you guys have a fantastic day tomorrow, since it's the 8th today, so tomorrow is going to be the 9th, and it's a public holiday, so what a way to celebrate Women's Day. And a big shout out to those women in 1956 who made all of this possible. And today, guys, I am with someone, like one of my favorite people in the world, right? And this woman, this girlie, I love her so much, and I know she loves me too, but sometimes, I don't know. And yeah, she is so amazing, guys. She is a mom, and she's also my colleague, but she's also a fantastic speaker. And guys, like, I don't want to like run it for you. I want you to experience her for yourself. So without wasting any time, say hello to Puleng.
Hi,
Puleng.
Hi, Tumi.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah. Firstly, I just want to say that I love you all the time. I don't know what you meant when you said sometimes, but I love you so much, and you're also my favorite person.
Aww.
And thank you so much for having me.
No, you know, it's this banter between you and
Yeah,
I. We have this
know.
thing. Puleng and I have this thing.
You give me a hard time here at the office. No, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thank you. I'm grateful, and I love you very much.
Yeah, I love you too, and welcome to Walk the Talk.
I'm so excited.
I know we've been speaking about this for quite some time. Like, you're gonna come to Walk the Talk, you're gonna come to Walk the Talk, and finally
like,
we're here.
in my mind, I'm just like, wow, like dreams come true. Like, make it happen. We've been talking about this. I know when we first met, we just clicked immediately.
Yeah.
And you told me your dreams, and I was just like, I believed in the vision. I hopped on immediately.
Yeah.
So, to be here a couple of months later, in my mind, I'm honestly blown away.
Sure.
So,
Wow. That's so sweet. Thank you. So we're gonna just start this whole thing out with the this or that, right? Yeah. And then we're gonna go into a couple of icebreaker questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ready. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Coffee or tea? I know the answer to this one, but people don't.
Tea. Specifically rooibos tea. No sugar. Yes.
Tell us why.
Guys, sugar is so bad for you. But I still take sugar. But with my tea, I just want it plain, because rooibos is very hydrating. It's good for your skin. It's good for your immune system. And I just want it at its most natural, purest form.
I hear you.
Without any contaminations. So yeah, that's why.
I hear you, but I'll still stick to coffee.
It's fine. One day I'll convert you.
Okay, all right. Roses or chocolates?
Oh, chocolates.
Really?
But I'll pick chocolates, but both.
No, you have to choose one.
Edible, so I'll just.
but roses die.
You know what? I think I'll go with roses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go with roses for now.
Okay.
For now,
okay. All right.
I still want flowers.
I hear
but
you.
Just add chocolate to the flowers.
That's
all I'm saying.
No, but you have to choose one.
Okay, roses.
The whole point of this is that
there's a reason why I'm choosing roses, so I'm gonna go with roses.
Okay.
For now.
So roses, you know what to get for Puleng. Roses. Okay, and what's the book that you're reading currently? If you're reading any book, no pressure.
I'm currently reading I Write What I Like by Steve Biko.
Oh, nice. Oh, I love it as well. Yeah. That's a good one, right?
It's amazing, but if I'm honest with you, I've been slacking the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm gonna stick with it. I wrote Cry Freedom, and that's why I bought this one. Well, it was given to me as a gift. But yeah, it's an incredible book.
Oh, so Cry Freedom led you to.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. I haven't really read Cry Freedom, but I did read a bit of I Write What I Like.
I suggest you read Cry Freedom.
Okay,
Maybe we can watch the movie together.
Yeah, actually, the movie. I was just about to ask you, book or movie.
Oh man. Like I wanna say movie.
Yeah.
But books are incredible, but they're so hard to finish.
Give me zero, ma'am. Movie. Give me zero.
I don't know what to eat. This is hard. Movie or like coffee and tea was easy, but movie or book, it has to be both.
No.
But I'll go with book because I love books and I'm really trying to stick to my books. So I'll go with books, but I really love movies.
I hear you. Yeah, so good for you, because I'm not reading, the Bridgerton thing. I'm not reading all of that. I would rather watch the series, the movie. Like the Harry Potter books. I would rather watch the movie, honestly.
Yeah, I get you.
But I know, like, a lot of people, and maybe that's the reason you're saying this, say that, like, the book has more depth, the book has more, like, details, and all of that. I get you, but I think I'm too lazy.
I'm definitely
Give me a self-help book. It's good. I'll read that.
I'm definitely going with book because I remember I read From with the Wife, and then I watched the series and I was so angry because the book was so much better.
Oh, okay.
So definitely book.
Okay.
Did you watch?
I hear no. I think I watched a few episodes, but
no. Okay, it's fine.
I hear you.
Books.
Yeah, reading is good.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's get into today. So the whole point of this video, like I said, Puleng is my colleague, and we are talking about our workplace, and misconceptions about our workplace.
Yeah.
So Puleng and I work for a church. And there's so many misconceptions, and there's so many things I've heard people say. Like, someone said to me, came to me so innocently, shame, and they were like, so, like, there's this job opportunity that I have for you. You must apply, since you're working for the church. And I was like, yeah, but I have a job. And she's like, yeah, but a real job. But I was like, I have a real job. She's just like, yeah, but you work for the church.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yes, I am working, And I think there's so many misconceptions. Like, people think we just pray all day, we fast. Some people think, someone told me today, someone told me that they used to think we get paid from the tithes and offerings.
Oh, wow.
Right? Yeah. And you know what? It's funny to us, but then genuinely there's some other people out there who think like that,
Yeah.
What are some of the misconceptions, that people have said to you about working for the church?
I think the biggest thing for me was when I left corporate to work full-time for the church.
Yeah.
Like, when people would ask me, like, where are you going? And I'd be like, no, I'm going to work for my local church. Their faces would drop, like, what's going to happen to your future? Like, what are you going to do? People would be like, you can serve and have a proper job.
Yeah.
So I just think that people are very misinformed about working full-time for the church, and maybe because of some of the experiences, because churches are so broad and so different, but I think that people are, they're so misinformed. People think you're there to volunteer.
Yeah.
That maybe you are brainwashed.
Yeah.
That something is wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like, how can you leave a good job for, a church job? It doesn't work like that. So I think that this is very important to put out there for people to understand what, working for a church is like. And so, I just think people thinking I'm throwing my future away, flushing my future down the drain, even some family members.
Sure.
And it's tough, but you have to know what you're doing when you work for the church.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. Like, I've also, seen people's facial reactions when I say, it's almost like it's looked down upon,
100%.
right? So, when I say, no, I work for my church, like my local church, and people are just like, oh.
Yeah.
Like you're not doing anything,
Absolutely.
And I find that a bit funny, but also, like you're saying, people don't have the right information, or they have very little information about what it means to work for the church, or why somebody would decide to do that, right? And so I just wanted to find out from you, right? You said you left your corporate job to come into working for the church. What drove that decision? Like, what made you make that decision?
Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious me. I think for me, the most important thing was environment. Like, my job was, amazing. I learned so much. I mean, I was a baby when I started there, and my skills were harnessed and honed, and it was amazing. But it really got to a point where, and I don't think it's the same for everyone, but I felt like my soul was dying.
Sure.
Like, especially the last 2 years of my job. I remember walking in the bathroom one day, looking in the mirror. I couldn't even recognize myself, and I couldn't understand, God, what are you doing? I have no passion. I have no drive. It just feels like no one gets me, and also I'm empty. Like, I'm empty. I'm just, doing what I can. I'm trying. I'm giving my best, but it was not fulfilling at all. And so I think I just went on this journey by myself and with God and people I was praying with, and just, being surrounded by people who knew what they wanted. Like, oh, this is how I want to grow, and I would repeat what they were saying. I saw the vision as well. Like, okay, this is maybe in the next 3 years I could become manager, I could grow. But there wasn't anything on the inside of me that wanted to be there, and it just got to a point where I couldn't do it anymore. I really couldn't. And so when because I was serving at church anyways, and I got connected to like a connect group, a home cell. People usually know connect groups as home cells. And just being in that environment, learning about the church and the people and the culture, and I was like, this is so cool. Like, I would leave my work at 5 p.m. to get you at 6 p.m. and connect with other people, grow, and I was growing so much. And I realized, I think I discovered something that, like, there's just something different about being here, and I wanted to tap more into it. So when an opportunity came for me to apply, I knew the risks. I knew that it won't be easy, but I did it anyways, and I prayed, God, I hope they don't take me, because
I hope they don't take me. It's great.
So I think it was beyond me. I do believe that God had a lot to do with it, and He was communicating, and that's why I feel like my journey is very unique. It's not for everyone. So it was something that I felt on the inside, more than a feeling. Like, I knew that the time will come, and it came the way it did. Also through dreams, but I won't get into that because that can confuse a lot of people. But it's just a journey with God, and it was crazy. I didn't want it, but I wanted it. I didn't want it, but I knew that there was something here for me.
I hear you. And was it worth it?
Tumi, I've been here for like a year now, and literally the way I've grown, I marvel. Sometimes I hear myself speak and I'm like, I learned so much in corporate, but it did not
do that for you.
It did not ignite anything. I feel like something has been ignited, and I'm learning about it, and I want to continue on that path. So it changed the course of my life, and I think that every risk is worth it. I think even a job in corporate is also risky. People get retrenched all the time. It's risky everywhere, and I think people need to learn that churches are run like corporate spaces. Like, it's an organization, and it's run professionally, and you show up and you don't get to sleep because you work for a church. Excellence is demanded. Like, you should give your best, not perfection, excellence. And so I think that has completely changed my life.
So it was worth it for you.
It was worth it. 100%.
And that's great to hear, because like I was thinking to myself, like, what made me like be comfortable in applying for a job, because I don't know, I think people think also like the leadership of the church or the pastors are like, who can I pick in the congregation? You get what I'm saying? I don't think people get that. Like, you apply. We applied for the jobs. And we went through the interview process. You had to wait for an email or something. Like, you had to wait to be called.
You sign a contract.
And when I applied for this job in particular, I did it like so late, because like someone kept saying to me, no, you need to apply. And I was just like, I didn't think I was qualified, and I was just like, nah, I'm not gonna. But imagine, I didn't think I was qualified for a job in the church. I need you to get that, right? I didn't think I was qualified, and this was a multimedia designer position, and I thought, I'm not qualified to do that. I mean, I've done a few things, but like, this is hectic, and you look at the description and you're like, I have never worked in that. I don't what sound like, you get what I'm saying? But I've always prayed, always. Before I get a job, before I apply for a job, I've always prayed. And from the very first job I got, I was very specific in prayer. I was like, God, I want to work in an environment for me, right, that reminds me of you on a daily basis, constantly, right? I want to work with people who believe in you.
Yeah.
So that when I am they're not leading me astray, and when I'm going left, they are able to correct me in love, but also in sternness, knowing that I'm not gonna be offended by being corrected by someone who has my best interest at heart. You get what I'm saying? I wanted, it was my prayer from my very first job, and let me tell you, I have not worked in a Christian environment.
Sure.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, when this came up, it was like, okay.
It's lining up. Right?
Yeah, it has to be God, but also because of self-doubt and insecurities, then you start feeling like I'm not qualified for this job, right? So that's another misconception, guys. We applied for these jobs.
Yes.
We went through an interview, a panel.
Interviews proper. I think my jaws dropped. I think this was probably the hardest interview ever.
Yeah, they grilled us.
Yeah, they did grill us.
Yeah. So
Bev and Dimitri, ooh, goodness gracious me.
Yeah.
But we love them.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it was.
But that's because they were looking for excellence. I think another thing is just understanding that, like you were saying, the church is an organization, it's a company.
Yeah.
Because I think one of our pastors was saying earlier when I was speaking about people have misconceptions about church. Earlier in the week, she said to me, one of the people that are new to the church were like, so you guys wake up I wake up when I go to work and you come. Yes, we do that. We don't
wake up and take a bath and you're here.
Yes. And we have roles, we have meetings, we have all these things that are happening in other organizations that need to happen here. Because in my head, I think people just think, things just happen, videos just play themselves. They just happen.
And they wake up in the morning.
Yeah,
but I think, to be honest, that's the mindset I had. I would wake up, go to church, and I'd find things done. Of course it's here.
Yeah.
Not thinking that someone put it
there.
That someone was up the whole night trying to make this beautiful experience for me. So I think working for the church just totally changed my perception. And even when I go to different churches, I'm looking around and I actually appreciate the space more.
I was gonna ask you if now that you are in it, do you appreciate more the things that happen in the church? When you see things happening, it's just that's a lot of effort.
I think when I even when I watch church online, other churches, or go to other churches, I think what the only thing working for the church did, right? Not the only thing, but the one thing it did was I can pick up on small little things I'm sure they are struggling there at the back. And usually other people have no idea that there's chaos at the back. And I think even when my mom watches online, I'll come home, I'm like, how was it? Did you see? She's like, what are you talking about? We were worshiping it all as well. I'm like, okay, and she's like, Puleng, you have to relax because we are there for God and we're experiencing. And now I'm seeing the small things this is not supposed to be like that. But I think I pick up those things now. But also, there's so much appreciation, you know, even for people to volunteer, coming from work into the space to give up their time. I'm always blown away and inspired by that. And I think because of that, it makes me want to show up in all my roles. You know what? I really want to give my best. I think for me, church went from being a place where it was for me. God, I'm feeling drained, I'm uninspired, I'm broken. And that's how God introduced church for me. It's the word was all for me. Everything was for me. And then I started serving, and it was still for me, serving for me. And then it shifted to, it has to be for other people. It has to be, I have to make sure that the batteries are charged. So that the worship team can sing and the pastor can preach because other people need this.
that.
And so I think that's my mindset now when it comes to church, but it also can get a lot. And so I also see God in certain moments where I feel like, God, I'm empty, and then in the service one thing will happen. a word will be spoken
Yeah.
or a worship song, and,
Yeah.
and something is triggered on the inside
Yeah.
of me, and I feel God pouring back into me. So I think that I hope I'm answering the question. I don't know
Yeah.
if I've gone off
No,
track.
no,
but
definitely you
yeah,
have.
so church has shifted for me, and even though it's shifted, God still calls. He still
Sure.
makes it for me, but
Yeah.
it's really all about Him.
Yeah.
You know, God does something for us, but it's to show us more of His character, and He comes at the right time. All
Sure.
the time. So,
I hear that. that. And but like another misconception that I think like is out there is that when you work for the church, you are super spiritual. Like your spiritual life is perfect, and like you know everything. Like nothing is. You are not. Whether you are up at midnight.
Yeah.
You are up at 5 a.m. You fast for everybody, each and every day, congregation. You know, like.
Yeah. You're a prayer warrior.
You're a prayer warrior, you're a worshiper, you are everything, like you are anointed. And again, I think synced with that is that we want to be pastors. Like when you work for the church, that means you have a calling to be a pastor. I've heard people say that. I'm like, no, I'm not a pastor. Like, you want to be a pastor? No, I don't want to be a pastor. I just work for the church and I'm serving. So for you, right, is that true? Are we super spiritual? Like, we never have a problem.
Well, let me speak for myself.
Yeah.
I am not super spiritual. But I think, let me tell you the honest truth. When I came to this space, I really had at the back of my mind that, Puleng, you can't drop the ball spiritually. Like, you have to pray, you have to. And then I came to this space, I'm like, okay, but we're all ourselves. Like, we are so different, and we're different, but we're the same. But I think that we've had a lot of discussions, and some of us relate to, I'm talking about the staff.
Yeah.
We relate to God differently.
Yeah.
And then I'll pick up on this person, okay. But I think overall, coming into this space, I realized that authenticity is something we probably take seriously.
Yeah.
And we talk about so much, and we are given the platform to express our truest thoughts, and maybe some of our experiences if you want to share, you know. So I think that I did have that pressure, but I put that pressure on myself. No one put that pressure on me. But I slowly just, because you can't keep up. You can't keep up. And also that was my introduction to the Christian faith. I didn't grow up in church, and so when I started going to church and I got saved, I felt like you have to fast, you have to do these things. And it took a toll on me. That I think when I started coming to this church, a weight was lifted off my shoulder. Like, I can breathe, you know. But still, again, you still have that pressure at the back of your mind, because you don't want to lose your salvation, and you think you have to do certain things.
I hear you.
But I think with growth and being exposed to different people, messages, grace, pursuing God for myself, I realized, you know, I can breathe. You know, I can breathe, and I look at my relationship with God like it's an actual relationship. We have high highs and low lows, and there are just times where, like, you know, God, I'm sorry, I'm gonna do my own thing right now. But I've definitely learned to always keep coming back, and also to just be myself with God, and also still bear in mind that He is my Father, you know, and He loves me, and I just think it's just a journey. So for me, like, speaking for myself, no, I don't think you have to be super spiritual. What I do believe is important, and something that works for me, is having a relationship with God and having a community, you know? And knowing that in that community you will meet super spiritual people, and you will meet casual people, and you just have to figure God, you have to pursue God more than anything. But one thing I've learned is that I've learned from super spiritual people in my mind that I've deemed as, you're so perfect, like, you must be God's favorite. I've learned so much from those people, but I've also learned so much from people who are just like, dude, this is who I am. I still trust I'm a child of God. This is, you know, here I am. I'm not hiding anything. This is my past. This is who I am. And I think you and I, we connected a lot on that. And I always tell you, every time you talk about how you got saved, I'm like, man, the world needs to hear this. Because there are so many of us who are trying to be Christian, and we are hiding things, and we are a certain way, not realizing that, no, man, that thing that you're trying to hide, you're trying to suppress, God wants to take that thing and use it for His glory. And I think that's something I've learned in the past year, and I'm so excited about it because there are so many things, even about me, that I've looked at. Even, and I think going back to, you know, corporate, like those things that I wanted to suppress was because in the corporate space, they kind of don't work.
Yeah.
You know, like if someone sees that trait in you, they're like, like not here, you know, and you're like, oh, this is bad. You know, because this is a thing that's helping me, that's making me not grow in this space. But then I have found that being in this environment, that thing that I'm trying to suppress, God's like, no, or my mentors or people who see something in me, they're like, no, this is exactly what God needs
to
to take it, to that thing you're trying to hide. God wants you to embrace it, for you to go to the next level.
I hear you.
And it's actually, I believe, for other people who are struggling with the same thing, or this, for them to realize, oh, if God can do that
for that person,
and that's why I love Sarah Jakes Roberts so much. Like, because I think she's also one of the people, like, when I, you know, was already in the faith, but you know, after experiencing brokenness, while I was deep in my brokenness, that I heard her story and I was like, what? Like, huh? In the Christian faith, like,
I hear that.
I love her God. Like, this is the God that I want to see about, because I'm not perfect. And so, like,
and you know, Puleng, like I was saying at the beginning, there was this misconception from somebody today who told me that they thought we were getting paid through tithes and offerings, right? And that there are other people who think that we don't get paid at all, and there are others that think we shouldn't even be getting paid. So, like, let's talk about that. Like, do we get paid? Do you think we should be getting paid?
I definitely think we should be getting paid. No, we definitely get paid. Like we said, this is run like an organization. And what we try to do is generate money for the organization to pay the employees. So we should be paid. If you're getting paid at your job, surely we can get paid at our job.
Absolutely.
But we get paid. And we try raise funds as much as possible. For everything, maybe including salaries. I don't know that far, but we get paid because we are employees, and we should be paid because this is a job.
It's an actual job.
What do you think?
We're not doing play here. Absolutely. I think even the people that work for the church, work for God, still have rent to pay, bills to pay, and I think God wants us to get paid. You know, like, I think we should be getting paid. Not that like we deserve it or whatever, but I think with any job, people work to get paid. Absolutely. It's not the only thing that you are doing when you're working, but you work, you get a salary. It shouldn't be different for an organization like a church.
It's crazy that, you know, it shocks people. I think for me, the thing is with people, well, in my experience, the question comes up like, do you get paid enough?
Oh,
like, how are you gonna survive?
Like what you were saying when you left your corporate job, what about your future?
My goodness, you know? So I think people are concerned about that. People who care for us probably think maybe this is not the best place to be. But I think working for the church is like any other job where you desire to get paid more. I don't know. When I was in corporate, I never met someone who's like, I'm very satisfied with my salary. This is it. You know?
That's the whole point of people wanting to get promotions, is to get more money, because they want more things and want to grow even more.
And so we desire that here, and it's something we pray for, and it's something that our managers are aware of. Like, you know, you have to work and you know, produce good fruit and you get paid. So I think that's my prayer for growth in all aspects, in my skills, in my money, as I'm working for the church. And that's what we trust God for. And one of our culture codes is we dream big and we start small. And so it's okay for me to work in a church environment and dream about earning a good salary. So we treat it the same, corporate church.
Exactly, absolutely. And you know, like I was just thinking as well, we've been talking about working for the church. We've been unpacking this whole thing about these misconceptions that are there about working for the church. But like, because people don't think it's a real job, they don't think, they don't know. And I'm not speaking for everybody, but I mean, like, the people that have made those comments obviously have very little knowledge. But can you give us your job description? Like, what do you do for this church?
What I was employed for?
Yes, what were you employed for? Why were you grilled?
I am employed as a financial administrator. So that's my job description. And that entails, dealing with our tithes and offerings. It entails, we have suppliers. There are people providing services to us, and we are providing services to other people. All the invoicing, statements, and all of that. I deal with that, but I'm not limited to finances. I think when you work here, you're an all-rounder, So I also run the children's ministry, preparing content weekly, growing the children's church, making it more appealing, running the team, as well as, learning about tech, sound, running a service, all of that. So you're not just limited to your job description. Engaging with people, dealing with people, the counseling side, pastoral care, support, all of that is part of my job description. And also I think being a creative of some sort, I'm not too involved in the media side. I do contribute in terms of being in the content, but I
being in the content.
That's my contribution. But even for kids, I have to learn about media. I have to learn how to edit videos, the sound of the videos, EQ, all of those things that you do that you're so well versed in. I have to do that for kids' church as well. So you're not limited to your job description. You become all these other things. And I'm reminded also about what you said, that you're a pastor. I think no, you're not a pastor, but you are someone in ministry.
Yeah, good. And that's a very good answer. That's so good. Yeah,
and there's a form of pastoral care that you give. But you're not necessarily
a pastor.
You're just yourself working in ministry.
And it doesn't mean that you're called to be one as well if you're working for the church.
I think you can be called.
Yes, but it doesn't have to necessarily mean that you're called.
It doesn't have to.
You can be called into ministry, but not called to be a pastor.
Absolutely.
I love that. And I was gonna say as well, like, I want to give my job description at the church because we are having this conversation, and I'm hired as a multimedia design assistant, right, for the church, meaning if you see videos on YouTube uploaded, I edit them. If you see that on Sunday there was a live stream and that live stream has turned into a message, just know I edited that. If you see photos and stuff like that edited and uploaded, or anything that has to do with multimedia, basically it's my department. You see us filming and uploading worship and stuff like that. 100%. That's me, so that's part of my job, but it's a huge part of my job. But like you said, when you work for the church, you're not only limited to what your job description is.
100%.
And that means that there are other things that you do, like I lead youth, the online church. There's so many ministries. Young adults. There's so many ministries
MCs.
that I'm worshiper. That there's a lot of them. So you're not only limited to that. One thing I think people need to understand about working for the church is that yes, you are employed. Yes, you do get all of these things. So we cleared up that misconception, but also you are in ministry, so you are ministering to people.
Absolutely.
So you can't just say, okay, I was hired as a financial assistant or a financial you said a financial administrator, I'm just gonna do that and go home. No. It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't.
So if you're choosing to work for the church, you're choosing to minister into people's lives. And like, this brings me to my last bit of the conversation, which is like, I want to find out from you, like, let's say there's somebody who's watching and would like to know, like, okay, I've heard what they have to say about working for the church. I understand it. I would like to work for the church, but because of these misconceptions, I have distance myself from working. I can serve, but working for the church, another story. What would you say to someone like that, maybe who's just conflicted about working for the church?
Wow. You know what? I really think, especially for a lot of young people, that the church is a beautiful foundation to work for. Maybe as an intern, I know you have that experience, and you still, when you talk about it, I can see that you learned so much, and you're using a lot of those skills today. So I think that it's a beautiful foundation phase. If you are someone who's still trying to figure it out, you could be a CEO one day for a big corporate company. Starting at the church, I believe, would be the best foundation. You learn people, you learn personalities, you're exposed to a lot of things. But I feel like working for the church is not something that you should, I don't want to say desire. I just feel like, because of my experience, it's something that was very specific. I didn't say I want to work for the church because they look so cool and they do all this media things. It was a journey and almost like a prompting. I couldn't resist. I had to be part of it. And I think with any other role, like you shouldn't just jump into it because it's a job that's available. I think there has to be a lot of thought put into it. I feel like everyone should experience it, yes, but I don't believe that we all should work for the church. There are so many people who are called in the kingdom of God that should be CEOs in corporate spaces, that should be DJs in the entertainment industry, actors like Kiman Kabelo, Mabalani and his wife. They are doing amazing things in their space, representing the kingdom of God. And so being a Christian, I think it's a beautiful experience to serve and maybe to work as an intern, but you also need to go out there to apply the godly wisdom in the world to see what God can do. But if you do work for the church, I think it's good. It's amazing. You must be cut from a special cloth. Yes, I believe also.
Except for the faint-hearted.
It's not for the faint-hearted. But I think that's all I can say. Just inquire of the Lord, and it's not a bad thing to have experience working in the church. It's amazing. It's great. Just know that it doesn't mean you're supposed to work full time for the church.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Puleng. This was a fun conversation. It was fun for me, especially because I always laugh in my head when I hear these things. But I'm not laughing to say, are you for real? I'm laughing to say, I'm blown away by these misconceptions. You get what I'm saying? I don't laugh in people's faces, but it's just being blown away. Like, okay, I think we need to clarify this. You get what I'm saying?
It's important, and I was those people. I don't want to lie.
And
I really was.
I think we all are to a certain extent, because when you don't understand something, then you have your own perception about what it is, So I'm glad you and I had this conversation to clarify what it means to us to work for the church, And thank you for coming. Hope to have you again.
Please have me again.
I definitely will. This has been fun. This has been super fun. And thank you for watching and sticking with this conversation throughout. I hope that you have learned something. And please communicate with me in the comment section. Let me know what are some of the misconceptions that you've heard, or if you have a question about working for the church and stuff like that, please do comment in the comment section. Send me a DM and I'll answer you. And with that being said, I will see you guys again next week. Same time, same place, save the date. It's a date. It's definitely a date. I will see you again next week. Cheers. Love you lots.